Our critics are like a willibit. They never stop thinking and talking about you.
We have to begin our journey of
Yes.
learning first. Secondly, we should not be impatient about our results, because results will be there only when you make efforts.
Efforts, yes.
And there'll be no sense of judgment or any sort of fear of judgment, because
Yes.
the time when we have this, we compromise with our own performance.
Yes. See, never ever think that things are going to be perfect. So don't just wait for that moment when you will be feeling comfortable, no, perfect, and then you will start doing things.
So you mean to say that there has to be a relation, some like masters and their students, that one should be holding some knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
And on the other side, the students must be curious
Yes.
to know all that. So if you are really willing to learn speaking English or to write English, then you must be very careful about your selections of your friends with whom you are going to be accompanied with.
Yeah.
And according to sir, what he means to say is that you need to be with someone who is a little bit higher in
Yes.
front of you in terms of knowledge, in terms of personal understanding about the language or the academic subject as per your requirements.
Always seek somebody's company. And I'll miss in our previous videos, I shared this with you that we should always be looking for people who are better than us. Only then will you be able to learn something in your life. If you're hanging out with people who are just like you, or not, like you, who will you learn from them? So there has to be somebody you can learn from. I always want to have people around me who are somewhere going to give something to me, and I always love to sit with those people.
So, hello everyone, this is me, Robin, and now you can see who is with me. In fact, the person you are watching now, usually you have seen him on the hosting chair, but now I have him now not on the hosting chair, because me, Robin, now doing hosting for you. And today we have decided one topic, and which is all about English language, and we will try to understand all important aspects of English language. Jitendra Namdev, being an educationalist, as well as he has been teaching for around
14 years.
14 years. So he has got this massive experience of teaching English language. So I thought, why should I not try to extract some nectar of English for all the audience? So, guys, I want you to be a little bit patient and listen to him very carefully, because I believe if you listen to him very carefully, you will learn a lot of things about English language, and you will learn many important nuances about English language, which are important. We guys know that English language has been international language. There is no doubt about it. And today we need to be educated on this language, because your career elevates only when you have a good communication skills. So before we go and have some questions, I want Jitendra to come and speak something about English language, and why does he think that a student should spend some time to learn English language for the better career.
Yes. So, well, I thank you very much for having me as a guest over here. And it's really very nice. And for the first time, I'm just going to answer questions. And I will have to be very, very careful about the people who are listening to me, because this video is especially for the people who are building their communication skills. I'm talking about English language, I'm talking about English communication, because it's been seen that many people, they're able to understand the language. When it comes to reading, they can read and they can understand, but when it comes to speaking, they find it difficult to go with the language, because somewhere they haven't had the environment which is needed. At the same time, they are not in the habit of speaking or using it a lot, and as a result, they are finding it difficult to speak, especially in this language. So why I chose this language to be a trainer about, because to be honest, I've never had this dream of teaching English. And I really never wanted to be an English teacher. But I'm so much, and I've been so much into the sports, especially cricket. And I would always find those cricketers speaking in English. And out of curiosity, because I wanted to be like them, I thought that why should I not start speaking in English? But the very big thing, I would tell you is that I've always been a Hindi medium student throughout my career, throughout my life. I've never studied in English, but that dream of mine that I wanted to become a English speaking person kept propelling me forward, and that shaped me, shaped my career,
Right.
shaped my future. And
Mm.
now I'm a trainer, and I've been teaching for almost 14 years. And I would suggest students to go for the language, because you will definitely be having a nice career if this skill is there with you, because somewhere this makes a difference, right?
Right.
If you're working with some multinational companies or some organizations which are dealing with customers who are from different countries, so there has to be some link language, and I don't think that there is any other language which is as simple as English language. If you go for Japanese, if you go for Chinese, if you go for Russian, so difficult languages they are, right? But English, because you've been studying it for I think since the beginning you've been studying it, so it's been there with you. So you are quite comfortable with it as compared to other languages, because you have never had the exposure to other languages. So I hope that yeah, I will be able to answer your questions, and I will be able to satisfy the curiosity and the kind of questions people have in their minds regarding the language, and how they are gonna build this language, and they are gonna be a good speaker, especially of English language. So just you can right now ask me questions.
Okay, as you can hear him, and it is really, really surprising. And the surprising part is that he just said that he has completed his education from Hindi medium. So, what I can assume, you have completed your schooling from MP board, right?
Yes.
And now you can see him, and you can also observe him while he's speaking. He's very fluent. And the surprising part is that he has done his schooling from MP board. And since you come from Gwalior, then you know the condition of the schools running this MP board. Yeah. People don't even understand Hindi properly, let alone English. It's going to be very difficult. Yeah. So if he can achieve things like this, I think it's really a positive thing, and for all of you that you can also do it, right?
Yeah.
So let's begin today's journey, because we should not waste our time and this very providential opportunity, because to be talking to an English expert is always a providential opportunity. I will also learn something from him. So my first question, I have actually set up few questions because I don't want to lose the very essence of discussion. So I have put it
Yes.
down, make it more precise for the audience, so that audience should. So all these questions I have just put it down, keeping the students' interest at center.
Yes.
Okay, so my all questions would be according to this. So the first question, see, since you said you been from MP school or Hindi medium
State
school,
board, yes.
right? So I can assume that you might have problems, you might have struggled too, especially speaking, learning English language or speaking. Second, which I find usually from my experience, that people who know grammar, but still they are not comfortable in speaking English, because when I come across with many people around me, they are very well versed in grammar, but still they cannot speak English properly.
Yes.
So, what do you think is the biggest obstacle or the hindrance in their way of becoming a fluent speaker? Only when, even when they know grammar,
Grammar, yes.
yeah, very deeply. So, what do you have to say on this?
First thing I would love to say is that whatever you do and whatever you want to do in your life, be it anything, I'm not talking particularly about English, I'm talking about anything. If you fall in love with that, I think rest becomes very easy for you, right? Or I would love to say, answer this question a bit of, in bit of a Hindi, because I want students to understand, my point, very well. तो सबसे पहली बात है क्या, if I talk about myself, I've never ever studied grammar in my whole life. मैंने कभी अपनी लाइफ में ग्रामर पढ़ी नहीं है, and I've never been to any institution for learning this grammar. What I learned is actually you have to learn the context. You have to learn about the context. You have to learn about the expressions, of the people, that in what situations how you speak, right? And what is important in a particular situation. This is how I learned, and you wouldn't believe, I didn't know anything about English. So what I did, my brother, he had had many magazines, and they were all in English. And what I did is, because I knew nothing, and there was no guidance as well. No mentor was there who could guide me. So I started writing every word I could find in those magazines. You won't believe, I've written down almost 1 lakh words in my diaries. Yeah. And without even knowing why am I writing these words for, because I knew one thing, that if I don't have the words, how would I be able to speak? Because language is what, it's the group of words, then you put them into sentence, and then this becomes, your language. So I started writing everything, and then I started listening to people very attentively. पहला बात जो ये है कि आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि आप ना जो सीख रहे हो वो किस लिए सीख रहे हो. If you have no goal and you're learning it because other people are doing, then I think you won't be able to derive any kind of results from it. You won't be able to produce any result because there is no specific goal in your life. So you have to be goal centered first. आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि आपको ये सीख रहे हो तो क्यों सीख रहे हो. और मेरा सिंपल सा था, आई नेवर वांटेड टू बी टीचर, आई जस्ट वांटेड टू स्पीक लाइक दोस पीपल. And if I don't learn that language, then how would I be able to speak like them? So that is means this will remain a dream for me then. So सबसे पहले मैंने क्या किया था कि मुझे पहले ना मेरे पास में वर्ड्स होने चाहिए. And then, because I didn't have access to coachings, because I come from a humble background, so I didn't even have money to buy books. So what I did, I used to borrow books from my classmates. They had books which were all about English, so I used to borrow books from them. And in a day or two, I would just finish writing that whole book. I would write in my notebooks. From that, everything I could find in that book, I would write everything, and then I would just start learning from there. And this is how I learned. And I don't know what the reason is, that I started having some kind of feelings for this language. I mean, I had the feel for the words, I had the feel for the language, and rest is history. So अगर आपको ये नहीं पता, जैसे आई नो देर इज अ गर्ल कॉल्ड हिज हर नेम इज एबेलीन ग्लेनी. एंड मैंने उसके बारे में पढ़ा हुआ था. एक देर इज अ चैप्टर इन इंग्लिश इंग्लिश I think in class ninth. So Sound of Music. So that girl, she says that if you don't know where you have to go, then you'll never be able to get your destination. Right. Because there is no any specific destination of yours. You can then you'll be wandering around. सो अगर आपको ये नहीं पता कि आप सीख क्यों रहे हो और किस लिए और कैसे सीखना है, तो फिर सीखने का जो एक ड्रीम है आपका, दैट विल ऑलवेज रिमेन अ ड्रीम. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू हैव टू गेट वन थिंग स्ट्रेट, एंड दैट इज दैट यू हैव टू डिसाइड एंड यू हैव टू सेट अ गोल फर्स्ट. और उसके बाद में यू हैव टू बी मैड अबाउट इट एक्चुअली. Because if you ask me that how I did it and what things I did in my life, right, then the things I'm gonna tell you will just blow your mind. Because मैंने अपनी लाइफ में जो भी किया होगा, मैं रात रात तक बस जागता रहता था. आई वुड कीप reading because reading is the only exercise which gave me exposure to this language. Because हमारे टाइम पे वो मोबाइल फोन्स में एक्सेस नहीं था इंटरनेट का. So I didn't have any podcast to listen to, right? I didn't have anybody who I could just listen to. तो ऐसा तो कुछ था नहीं. तो books were the only medium कि हम बुक्स को रीड कर सकें, एंड देन विल हैव द एक्सपोजर टू द लैंग्वेज. और उसके बाद में फिर बिकॉज व्हेन यू रीड, you get to know many words which you might be able to use in your conversation, right? तो एक vocabulary, एक बहुत बड़ा vocabulary आपके सामने आता है, and you keep brushing up your vocabulary. And this is एक और चीज मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि आपके पास में अगर vocabulary अच्छी है, then you don't get stuck at a place because you have many alternatives. अगर आपके पास में एक ही वर्ड है और आप उसको भूल गए हो, देन हाउ वुड यू बी एबल टू स्पीक इन दैट सिचुएशन. तो सबसे बड़ी बात कि आपके पास में ऑप्शंस बहुत ज्यादा होने चाहिए. अगर ऑप्शंस आपके पास में ज्यादा है, तो यू कैन पिक एनी वर्ड एंड यू कैन गेट इनटू द कन्वर्सेशन यू आर हैविंग राइट नाउ. सो ये मुझे सीखने को मिला था. और ग्रामर की जहां तक बात आती है, तो ग्रामर, जनरली व्हाट इज ग्रामर फॉर पीपल, कि नाउन प्रोनाउंस एंड एडजेक्टिव एंड वर्ब्स, this is grammar for people. But I would say, if you are learning these things, then you would never get to know what the language is all about. क्योंकि ग्रामर पढ़ने से कभी किसी को इंग्लिश नहीं आती. ग्रामर का मतलब मेरा नाउन प्रोनाउन से नहीं है. ग्रामर अगर आपको सीखना, तो फिर यू हैव टू लर्न द स्ट्रक्चर्स, द फ्रेमिंग ऑफ द सेंटेंसेस, राइट? अगर आपको फ्रेमिंग आती है सेंटेंसेस की, then it is easy for you to express yourself in that language, right? अगर आपको फ्रेमिंग ही नहीं आती है, तो फिर नाउन प्रोनाउन से किसी को ग्रामर आई क्या है? मुझे तो कभी पता भी नहीं था कि ऐसा है अंदर। टू बी ऑनेस्ट, व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड टीचिंग आई डिडंट इवन नो दिस नाउन्स एंड प्रोनाउंस। साइड बाय साइड फिर मैंने सीखा था कि भाई मुझे पढ़ाना है, कोई एनीबॉडी कैन क्वेश्चन मी, तो फिर मैंने पढ़ाना पड़ा था। अदरवाइज आई कुड टीच even though I didn't know this noun and pronoun and all properly, right? थर्ड थिंग, जैसे आपने पूछा मुझसे कि ग्रामर अगर किसी को नहीं आती है तो वो इंग्लिश कैसे बोलना सीखेगा। दूसरा, ये सबसे पहले क्या, आई हैव टू हैव कॉन्फिडेंस। जैसे मैं अपना बताता हूँ, आई आई वाज नॉट एबल टू स्पीक द वे आई एम स्पीकिंग राइट नाउ। अर्लियर आई यूज्ड टू ट्रेम्बल इन फ्रंट ऑफ पीपल, राइट? Because I didn't have the exposure, I didn't have the confidence that is needed to be able to speak in front of people. देखो, इंग्लिश अकेले में बोल पाना और इंग्लिश किसी के सामने बोलना, देयर इज अ वर्ल्ड ऑफ डिफरेंस, राइट? आप खुद में से बात कर रहे हैं, यू नो द क्वेश्चंस, यू नो द आंसर्स, and it is easy to answer and to handle all those questions which are being thrown at you. But अगर आप किसी से बात कर रहे हो, somebody else is questioning you, and to be able to answer that question you should be having the right tools. अगर आपके पास वो टूल्स नहीं है तो फिर आंसर देना बड़ा मुश्किल हो पाएगा। और ये टूल्स भी तभी काम कर पाते हैं जब आपके अंदर कॉन्फिडेंस भी है। और कॉन्फिडेंस कैसे आता है? करने से ही कॉन्फिडेंस आता है। सो मैनी टाइम्स, आई bungled the whole job, I just messed up everything, right? But that was not going to stop me from achieving my goals. कई बार ऐसी सिचुएशंस आई हैं कि मुझे बोलने का मौका मिला और मैं बोल नहीं पाया। आई वेंट ब्लैंक इन फ्रंट ऑफ अ गुड नंबर ऑफ पीपल। आई थिंक अगर मैं चाहता तो शायद छोड़ सकता था कि मुझे नहीं बोलना, बिकॉज सो मेनी आई वाज फीलिंग ashamed and embarrassed in front of all those people, right? कि इतना, अगर आप टीचर हो उसके बावजूद अगर आप किसी के साथ में नहीं बोल पाते हो, सामने नहीं बोल पाते हो, इट्स अ बिग शेम, राइट? बट आई डिडंट लेट दैट थिंग ओवरकम मी, बिकॉज मुझे पता था कि अगर मुझे करना है तो फिर मुझे इस सिचुएशन से बाहर निकल कर ही आना पड़ेगा। देन आई स्टार्टेड गिविंग माई सेल्फ सम स्मॉल स्मॉल चैलेंजेस। और स्मॉल चैलेंजेस आपको, फिर जब आप ओवरकम करते हो किसी छोटी चीज को, तो आपके अंदर एक कॉन्फिडेंस आता है और फिर उसके बाद में फिर आप है ना आगे आगे बढ़ने लगते हो। सो दिस इज नो व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग माई स्टूडेंट्स, कि जो भी है जिसको इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में बोलना अगर सीखना है, तो डोंट अंडर एस्टिमेट द पावर ऑफ प्रैक्टिस। प्रैक्टिस आपको करनी ही पड़ेगी, और चाहे आपको कुछ भी मिल जाए, मैं कह रहा हूँ कि आपको मैं 10,000 वर्ड्स ही दे दूं तो वो भी सफिशिएंट हो जाएंगे बोलने के लिए, लेकिन वो 10,000 वर्ड्स आपके काम में तब आएंगे जब आपने उनको प्रैक्टिस करके रखा हुआ है। अदरवाइज दे विल डिसअपियर फ्रॉम योर हेड व्हेन एट द टाइम ऑफ स्पीकिंग। वो आप आ ही नहीं पाएंगे, बिकॉज आपके अंदर एक तो डर भरा हुआ है, दूसरा आपको प्रैक्टिस भी नहीं है। देखो, दीज स्पीच ऑर्गन्स हमें यूज आते हैं जब हम किसी भी लैंग्वेज को बोलते हैं। अब हिंदी में अगर हम बोल रहे हैं तो दीज ऑर्गन्स आर ऑलरेडी ट्रेन्ड, क्योंकि सराउंडिंग्स ऐसे रही हैं, और जो भी हमारे पीछे में लोग रहे हैं साथ में, वो भी हमारे साथ में से बोल रहे हैं। सो इट्स नेवर बीन अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर अस। बट दूसरी लैंग्वेज में बोलने के लिए यू हैव टू ट्रेन योर स्पीच ऑर्गन्स, चाहे वो आपकी ईयर्स हो, चाहे वो आपका जॉ हो, चाहे वो आपकी टंग हो। एवरी ऑर्गन नीड्स टू बी ट्रेन्ड, और वो तभी हो सकता है जब आप बोल रहे हैं। अदरवाइज यू नो द वर्ड्स। ये कैसे होता है कि आपको वर्ड्स आते हैं, आपको ग्रामर आती है, फिर भी यू फाइंड योरसेल्फ टू बी कंप्लीटली स्टक। क्यों नहीं निकल पाते हैं वर्ड्स मुंह से? बिकॉज प्रैक्टिस नहीं की है उस चीज की। और सबसे बड़ा हमारा जो डर होता है, दैट आई विल गो रॉन्ग इफ आई स्पीक। ये ऐसा डर है दैट विल ऑलवेज होल्ड यू बैक। वो हमेशा आपको पीछे ही रोके रखेगा। और ये मैंने भी अपनी लाइफ में देखा हुआ है। जिस दिन मैंने सोचा था कि आज मुझे इस डर से आगे निकलना है, वही दिन था जब मैं आगे निकल पाया। अदरवाइज जब मेरे बोलने की बारी आती, अब मैं सोचता था कि ही शुड बी गोइंग फर्स्ट एंड आई वुड जस्ट वेट फॉर द एंटायर प्रोग्राम और द एंटायर फंक्शन टू गेट ओवर। नाम ही नहीं आएगा मेरा, देन आई विल नॉट हैव अ चांस टू स्पीक। सो दिस वाज द ऐसे, दिस इज हाउ आई लर्नड। और मैंने यही सीखा है, यही फॉर्मूला है। यस, आप अंडर एस्टिमेट नहीं कर सकते किसी की गाइडेंस का।
Okay, so I suppose you were listening to him very carefully, और दो चीज मुझे जो अभी मालूम पड़ी, शायद आप लोगों ने भी ऑब्जर्व करी हो। फर्स्ट, कि पुराने समय में इतनी सारी एक्सेस नहीं थी इतनी आसानी
या
से। जैसा कि अभी सर ने बोला कि पुराने समय में इंटरनेट एक्सेस नहीं था, जो आज हमारे पास है इंटरनेट
यस,
एक्सेस। हम आज ई किंडल है हमारे पास, और
बिल्कुल।
हम ई किंडल के यूज करके जो बुक को हम पढ़ना चाहते हैं, हम उसको कई सारी बुक्स को अनलिमिटेड,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
जो फ्री अवेलेबल है, फ्री
यस,
एक्सेस है।
मैं एक ऐसी लाइब्रेरी का नाम लेता हूँ, जी लाइब्रेरी के नाम से आती थी, एंड यू कुड डाउनलोड 5 बुक्स एवरी डे फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। हालांकि अब थोड़ा सा बैन लग गया था उस पर, आई डोंट नो व्हाई। तो अब वो फेड हो गई है, बट आई डाउनलोडेड थाउजेंड ऑफ बुक्स फ्रॉम दैट लाइब्रेरी। और जितने भी मैं सोर्सेज जो मुझे पढ़ने के लिए मिले थे वहीं से मिले थे, टू बी ऑनेस्ट।
तो ये देखो कितनी अच्छी बात है। कई बार तो हम लोगों को सही तरीके से सोर्सेस के बारे में भी पता नहीं पड़ता है। वो सबसे
हम्म।
बड़ा रीजन रहता है कि हम जो चीज करना चाहते हैं वो हम नहीं कर पाते। और दूसरी जो इम्पोर्टेंट और जो पॉजिटिव बात लगी मुझे कि आप चाहे किसी भी कंडीशन में हो, चाहे किसी भी परिस्थिति में हो,
यस।
अगर आप डिटर्मिन्ड हो और आप फुल फोकस्ड हो,
बिल्कुल।
तो आपके लिए कुछ भी इम्पॉसिबल नहीं है, राइट।
यस।
जैसा कि अभी इस तरीके से बताया, इतने कम चीजों में, इतनी कम एक्सेसिबिलिटी में, जो भी चीज संसाधन थे, जो भी रिसोर्सेज थी,
हम्म।
हम लोगों ने उसका यूज किया और अच्छे तरीके से उसको अप्लाई करके और
हम्म।
सीखा, और रिजल्ट आपके सामने ऑलरेडी है। तो यहाँ से तो हमको एक तरीके से एक पॉजिटिविटी का लेसन मिलता है जो हम लोगों को अपने साथ रखना पड़ेगा। अच्छा, मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन
हम्म।
विच इज कंटिन्यूइंग टू योर लास्ट क्वेश्चन। जैसा कि आपने बोला, सम स्टूडेंट्स फियर ऑफ जजमेंट,
हम्म।
because these students always fear that what will happen if they speak wrong.
या।
Something might have happened to them.
हम्म।
They always in a situation where they are thinking that they might lose their overall image and
यस।
dignity or overall self-respect if they utter a single word.
हम्म।
And और उसके अलावा जो सबसे बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग मेरे हिसाब से लगती है, जो मैं लोगों के, क्योंकि मुझे भी ऐसी प्रॉब्लम्स रहती हैं, लोगों के देखता हूँ मैं, फील करता हूँ, तो लोग बाग जो स्टूडेंट्स रहते हैं वो हमेशा से एक तो यही प्रॉब्लम रहती है कि वो बोलेंगे, क्या बोलेंगे,
क्या
और बोल
बोलेंगे?
देंगे
यस।
तो उसका कुछ गलत इफेक्ट नहीं होगा, उनका
लोग
मजाक तो नहीं
मजाक
उड़ेगा।
बनाएंगे। यस।
ठीक है, तो फियर ऑफ जजमेंट तो एक प्रॉब्लम रहती रहती है। दूसरी जो इंपॉर्टेंट बात रहती है, जैसे कि आपने अभी बोला था कि वर्ड्स रिटेंशन, वोकैब रिटेंशन वाली बात थी कि हम लोगों को जितनी वोकैब्स रहेंगी हमारे पास, उतना हम कंफर्ट भी करेंगे। लेकिन कई
यस।
बार ऐसा देखा जाता है कि जो स्टूडेंट्स चाहे कितनी भी वोकैब्स यूज कर ले, कितनी भी रिटेन कर, वो याद कर ले, लेकिन जिस वक्त उनको बोलना चाहिए या वो रिकलेक्ट नहीं कर पाते उस वोकैब को। तो इस चीज को हम लोग किस तरीके से शॉर्ट आउट कर सकते हैं? और एक और इसके साथ मैं ऐड करूंगा जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। कई सारे स्टूडेंट्स हम देखते हैं कि दे कैन रीड इंग्लिश, दे कैन लिसन टू इट वेरी केयरफुली, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू स्पीकिंग दे ऑलवेज फॉल्टर। तो ऐसा क्या है कि लोग बाग सुन लेते हैं, समझ लेते हैं, लेकिन जब बात आती है बोलने की तो उसी एफिशिएंसी के साथ, उसी इम्पैक्ट के साथ बोल नहीं पाते। तो ये जरूर इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा डिटेल में बताइए।
पहले तो एक बात मैं बताऊंगा कि फियर ऑफ बीइंग जज्ड सबसे खतरनाक वाला ये ऐसे एक, यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड संदीप माहेश्वरी, ही सेज देयर इज अ काइंड ऑफ यू नो डिजीज दैट इज LKK, लोग क्या कहेंगे सिंड्रोम।
राइट,
ये
राइट।
इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ नो सिंड्रोम कि व्हाट इफ आई गो रॉन्ग, व्हाट विल पीपल से अबाउट मी, राइट। यहाँ पर मुझे एक बढ़िया सा स्टेटमेंट याद आता है, दैट वाज डिलीवर्ड बाय रोहित शर्मा when he was out of his form. So somebody questioned him that what will your fans think about you? Then he says, or your critics will think about you. तो उसने एक बढ़िया जो लाइन बोली थी, वो आज भी मैंने एक्चुअली आई जस्ट कट आउट दैट क्लिप फ्रॉम a newspaper and it is still there in my notebook, कि मैं जब भी देखता हूँ उसको देख लेता हूँ जब भी लोग मेरे बारे में कुछ बोलते हैं। तो उसमें उसने क्या बोला था, that your critics are like a willibit, they never stop thinking and talking about you. वो कभी सोचना छोड़ते ही नहीं है, बोलना छोड़ते नहीं है कि आपके बारे में, they're always talking about you and I enjoy I enjoy this thing, right? तो सबसे पहले क्या है, देखो लाइफ आपकी है, उनकी नहीं है। एंड हाउ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपने किसी इंसान को रोक दिया, यू स्टॉप थिंकिंग टॉकिंग टू मी, टॉकिंग अबाउट मी लाइक दिस, आप कितने लोगों को रोकोगे? You cannot go and ask everybody to stop talking about you. So this is your life and you have to take the decisions, you have to take the charge of your life. तो हमें सीखना है, और सीखने में गलतियां होती हैं। पर्सन हु सेज दैट he or she has never made a mistake in his life, it means they have never tried to innovate in their lives, right? तो अगर आपसे गलती हुई नहीं है, इसका मतलब एक ही है कि आपने कोई सीखने का ट्राई नहीं किया हुआ है। और अगर ट्राई किया हो और आपसे गलती ना हो, ऐसा कोई शख्स पैदा भी नहीं हुआ है कि आप है ना सीखो। अगर मैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई एम प्रोनाउंसिंग द वर्ड्स, so this may be you're thinking that I'm able to pronounce the words very easily, but no, I had to go through a lot of challenges in my life. कुछ वर्ड्स ऐसे हैं जो मुझसे बोले भी नहीं जाते थे, एंड आई वुड प्रैक्टिस देम, सेइंग 20 30 50 टाइम्स। एक ही वर्ड को मैं 50 टाइम्स से बोलता था टू बी एबल टू बिकम हैबिचुअल टू दैट वर्ड, ताकि मैं उसकी आदत पड़ सके। क्योंकि मैंने ऐसे बोला था कि आपको एक ट्रेनिंग देनी पड़ती है अपने स्पीच ऑर्गन्स को। कुछ वर्ड्स होते हैं जो डिफिकल्ट होते हैं और जो शायद इजीली नहीं आ पाते, उसके लिए आपको ट्राई करना पड़ता है, राइट? तो आपको वो ट्राई करना पड़ेगा। दूसरा ये कि फॉल्टर कर जाते हैं। अगेन आई वुड से द सेम थिंग। if I want to bowl Yorker like Bumrah, so do you think that somebody tells me कि मुझे वहां पे उसको बाउंस करवाना है बॉल बॉल को, तो मैं यॉर्कर डाल दूंगा? इज इट दैट इजी? तो फिर बाकी बॉलर्स क्यों नहीं कर पाते हैं? what is the role of what is the role of practice here? This is the role of practice here, कि आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी है। एंड जो वर्ड की रिटेंशन की आप बात कर रहे हो, सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है कि हम क्या ना, जो वर्ड्स को पढ़ते हैं एंड देन वी फॉरगेट इट, वी डोंट यूज इट एक्चुअली। जब आप उसको यूज नहीं करोगे, देन इट विल बी इट विल बी डिलीटेड बाय योर योर ब्रेन, और इट मे डिसअपियर फ्रॉम योर माइंड एट द टाइम ऑफ स्पीकिंग। या तो वो डिलीट हो जाएगा, लेकिन आप कॉन्स्टेंटली रीड करते रहे हो तो समवेयर यू रिवाइजिंग दैट, बट आप उसको बोलने में यूज नहीं कर रहे हो, तो बोलने में आ ही नहीं सकता, नो मैटर हाउ हार्ड यू ट्राई। तो सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है कि आपको ट्राई तो करना ही पड़ेगा। और सी, डोंट एवर वेट फॉर परफेक्शन। डोंट एवर वेट डोंट एवर वेट फॉर yourself to be feeling like speaking in front of thousands of people। वो दिन शायद आ ही नहीं पाएगा। तो आपको स्टार्ट स्मॉल, एंड दीज स्मॉल सक्सेसेस can turn into a bigger one, and then one day you will be speaking or you'll be addressing thousands of people at the same time। तो ऐसा है कि आपको थोड़ा सा ये करना पड़ेगा। और सबसे बढ़िया मैं आपको फॉर्मूला बताऊं कि आप है ना किसी की भी पास जाना, किसी की भी पास, एवरीबडी इज मेकिंग मनी। हर कोई पैसा कमा रहा है, और दे आर नॉट सो मच डिवोटेड टू यू, और दे आर नॉट सो मच फोकसिंग ऑन यू, कि आप ही उनके यहाँ पे पढ़ने आ रहे हो, बाकी कोई वो पढ़ने नहीं आ रहा। सो you'll be feeling yourself lost in that place, because they're not focusing you on you alone। So सबसे पहले क्या है, आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? आपको you have to take the charge of your life। आपने डिसाइड किया होगा कि मुझे क्या करना है। somebody else is doing business, उनके पास में बहुत सारे और स्टूडेंट्स हैं, तो इतना आपके ऊपर अगर आप नहीं बोल रहे, वो छोड़ देंगे, फिर somebody else will speak in front, no, in place of you। why should they waste their time just because of you, right? तो ऐसा ही सोच के चलेंगे। आप नहीं बोलो कि पैसा तुम्हारा, टाइम तुम्हारा, बाकी जो है वो बोल रहे हैं। अब डिसाइड आपने किया है, नहीं कर रहे, वो भी आपने डिसाइड किया हुआ है। तो समवेयर यू विल हैव टू टेक द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। आपको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी ही पड़ेगी। और मेरे हिसाब से रीडिंग जो है, रीडिंग एंड लिसनिंग, ये दो ऐसी आई वुड से नो, दो ऐसे मंत्रास हैं जो आपको बहुत अच्छा स्पीकर बना देंगे। मैं रीडिंग को क्यों बोलता हूँ? बिकॉज रीडिंग इज द ओनली थिंग विच गिव मी द एक्सपोजर टू द लैंग्वेज। मैं कहीं पर नहीं गया, मैंने कोई क्लासेस वगैरह अटेंड नहीं की, ना ही मैंने कोई फ्लुएंसी डेवलपमेंट वर्कशॉप ज्वाइन की, ना ही मैंने कोई ग्रामर की क्लास ली। और सबसे क्या, आप बुक्स आपके पास में है, यू आर स्टडिंग विद इंग्लिश मीडियम, बुक्स आपके पास में है, सब कुछ लिखा हुआ है वहां पे। अप्लाई दैट, आप उसको अप्लाई करो। देखो, थिंग्स विल नेवर हैपन, दे आर मेड टू हैपन। यू हैव टू मेक देम हैपन। आपको वो करना ही पड़ेगा। तो इंस्टेड ऑफ वेटिंग, जस्ट कम इन टू एक्शन। आपको एक्शन में आओ और आप करो। और अगर आपको फिर भी लगता है, तो यू कैन इवन DM मी, आई विल गाइड यू एज पर योर लेवल। और मैं सच बोल रहा हूँ ये, मैं बिकॉज आई बीन ट्रेनिंग स्टूडेंट्स फॉर 14 years, मैं 14 years से पढ़ा रहा हूँ। बड़ा स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड बोलता हूँ मैं रियली, बिकॉज अगर आपके पास में फैसिलिटी बहुत है, फैसिलिटीज बहुत ज्यादा हैं, you'll never feel like doing anything, because you're not pressed for time, you're not pressed for anything else। अगर आप पे कोई वो एक प्रेशर नहीं पड़ता है, तो शायद आपका बेस्ट बाहर ही नहीं आता है। ऐसा कि मैंने पढ़ा भी कहीं पे कि जो जो डायमंड होता है ना, वो भी कहाँ पे बनता है आपको पता है? प्रेशर पड़ता है उसके ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा, तब जाके वहां पर डायमंड आता है। और वो भी कोयले की खदान में मिलता है, राइट? सो नथिंग, ऐसे इधर इधर इज प्रोवर्ब इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, रोम वाज नॉट बिल्ट इन अ डे, राइट? तो आपको ओवरनाइट अगर आपको प्रोग्रेस चाहिए और ना सक्सेस चाहिए, तो उसकी गारंटी तो ना मैं ले सकता हूँ, ना कोई और ले सकता है। प्रोग्रेस इज ऑलवेज ग्रेजुअल। प्रोग्रेस हमेशा ग्रेजुअल होती है। जैसे एक आपने सुना होगा वो इंसिडेंट, somebody was watching there was a tree and there was a cocoon था वहां पे। और cocoon में से आपको पता है कि वो प्यूपा निकलता है, उसके बाद में फिर ना वो कैटरपिलर होती है, फिर वो बटरफ्लाई बनता है। तो ही सॉ दैट द प्यूपा वाज ट्राइंग टू गेट आउट ऑफ इट। तो उसने सोचा ये तो बहुत स्ट्रगल कर रहा है, व्हाई शुड आई नॉट सेट इन फ्री, सॉरी सेट इट फ्री, मैं इसको फ्री क्यों ना कर दूं। उसने क्या, उसको निकाल दिया एंड नीचे निकाल के रख दिया उसने। इट्स बॉडी स्वेल्ड एंड डाइड। तो वो बॉडी उसके स्वेल हो गई, वो डाइड, मर जाती है वो। एंड देन ही रियलाइज कि ये क्या हुआ है, बिकॉज दैट वाज नॉट द नेचुरल प्रोसेस। तो एक हर चीज की एक प्रोसेस होती है, वो ग्रेजुअल होती है। आप एकदम से करना चाहो तो शायद आपको कोई रिजल्ट नहीं मिल पाएगा, देन यू हैव टू वेट। Don't compare yourself with other people. You can follow in their footprints. You can even consider somebody as your as your idol. बट आप सोचो कि एकदम से उसके जैसा करने लगो, दिस इज योर दिस इज द फूल हार्डी, आई वुड से दिस इज द हाइट ऑफ फॉली देन। तो इस ये तो फिर मूर्खता की हद हो जाती है कि हमें बिल्कुल उसके जैसे ही करना। नो, यू विल लूज योर आइडेंटिटी। आप फॉलो करो, अपना एक पर्टिकुलर एक टाइम रखो कि इतने में मुझे करना है। कल ही कैसे कर सकते हो, 2 दिन बाद ही कैसे कर सकते हो। गिव योरसेल्फ प्रॉपर टाइम। आप अपना लेवल देखो, सेट योर गोल्स। और गोल्स भी रियलिस्टिक होने चाहिए, ये गोल्स मस्ट बी रियलिस्टिक। इफ यू आर सेटिंग सम अनरियलिस्टिक गोल्स, यू आर सेटिंग योरसेल्फ अप फॉर मिजरी, यू आर सेटिंग अप योरसेल्फ अप फॉर सम फेलियर। तो फिर वही नहीं है कि आप देखो, इतना रखो गोल, अचीव करो, आगे बढ़ो, फिर अचीव करो, ऐसा आगे बढ़ जाओगे आप। लेकिन एकदम से ऐसा कर लेना, दिस इज यू आर सिंपली इनवाइटिंग द फेलियर्स। आप फेलियर्स को इनवाइट कर रहे हो, और अपने आप को फिर you will be blaming yourself and blaming people, or blaming the country and blaming the whole society and universe. And even you will be talking ill of God as well, right. कि यार मेरा ही बेकार किया, वो सबका बढ़िया चल रहा है।
तो ये जो हमने अभी तक सुना वो काफी रेलेवेंट लगा, जिस तरीके से अभी सर ने बताया कि जिस तरीके से एक बटरफ्लाई अपनी 4 डिफरेंट डेवलपमेंट स्टेज से होके गुजरती है।
हाँ,
कि पहले वो कोकून होता है, फिर उसके बाद प्यूपा होता
प्यूपा,
है,
फिर
फिर
कैटरपिलर।
कैटरपिलर, फिर एडल्ट बटरफ्लाई बन जाता है।
या
उसी तरीके से हमारी भी जर्नी लर्निंग की कुछ ऐसी ही होनी चाहिए।
बिल्कुल।
तो हमें एकदम से हायर गोल की तरफ ना नहीं देखना चाहिए, क्योंकि द टाइम व्हेन वी ट्राई टू सी एंड अचीव द हायर गोल वी गेट डिप्रेस्ड।
टेक बेबी स्टेप्स।
हाँ, टेक बेबी स्टेप्स, राइट। और जो दूसरी चीज मेरे को जो समझ में आई आप लोगों की है, वो ये चीज समझ में आई कि फियर ऑफ जजमेंट।
हम्म।
ये हम लोगों को फियर ऑफ जजमेंट के बारे में नहीं सोचना चाहिए, जिस तरीके से रोहित
यस।
शर्मा जी का एग्जांपल दिया था।
यस।
तो ये जो बड़े बड़े जितने भी सेलिब्रिटीज होते हैं
अरे
भी।
मैं तो अपने स्टूडेंट्स के सामने नहीं बोल पाया था,
हम्म।
तो उसका मतलब क्या कि मैं बोलना छोड़ दूं?
हम्म।
कि वो, अरे वो सोच रहे हैं, उनको जैसा लग रहा है वो सोच लें,
हम्म।
लेकिन मेरे अंदर से थोड़ी आना चाहिए वो।
राइट, राइट, राइट।
राइट, somebody else cannot decide
हम्म।
what I should be doing।
हम्म।
वो कैसे डिसाइड कर सकता है? राइट, प्रॉब्लम मेरी है, उनकी नहीं है।
हम्म।
तो सोल्यूशन भी तो मुझे ढूंढना पड़ेगा।
तो ये यही हम लोगों को समझना पड़ेगा। तो पहली बात जो है कि वी हैव टू बिगिन our journey of
यस।
learning first. Secondly, we should not be impatient about our results, because results will be there only when you make efforts,
एफर्ट्स, यस।
and there'll be no sense of judgment or any sort of fear of judgment, because
यस।
the time when we have this, we compromise with our own performance,
यस।
right? So
यस।
our performance, I think, is miserably hit
यस।
only when we have these kinds of thought process, right?
यस।
नाउ वी आर मूविंग टू द थर्ड क्वेश्चंस। अब हम जो बात करेंगे वो है हमारे प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस की। तो
ओके।
हमने अभी तक जो देखा वो तो हमें ये मालूम पड़ गया कि कौन कौन सी प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं स्टूडेंट्स को जनरली, जो हमने डिस्कस करी। अब ये बात उठती है कि कौन कौन से प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस अवेलेबल हैं। जैसे कि कुछ सॉल्यूशंस हम लोग देखो आजकल, जैसे कि कमर्शियल मार्केट हो चुका है।
या
इंग्लिश हो, चाहे वो लैंग्वेज किसी भी तरीके की हो, चाहे कोई भी एकेडमिक
कुछ भी हो,
सब्जेक्ट हो,
यस।
तो सब अपने अपने तरीके से लेकिन कुछ जनरल तो स्टैंडर्ड है जो हमेशा अप्लाई होगा और
यस।
उसको हम लोगों को फॉलो करना ही पड़ेगा।
यस।
तो उनमें से कुछ चीजें जैसे कि होती हैं, पॉडकास्ट को सुन लेना आजकल का जो
यस।
ट्रेंड बन चुका है, लोगों को सुन के अपनी
हाँ।
इंग्लिश को एक तरीके से सुधारना। जैसे कि अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं, ही इज टॉकिंग इन इंग्लिश, यू आर देयर ग्रेस्पिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम हिम। तो एक तो ये तरीका हो जाता है। दूसरी ये बात होती है कि हम लोग ग्रामर्स जो यूज करते हैं, देखो एक, जैसे कि मैंने भी स्टूडेंट्स को कई बार देखता हूँ, जो 2 तरीके की ग्रामर होती है। एक ग्रामर होती है अपनी फॉर्मल ग्रामर,
या फॉर्मल, या
परहैप्स शायद उसको ट्यूशन व्यूशन, सॉरी, इंग्लिश एग्जामिनेशन, सम सॉर्ट ऑफ
यस,
एग्जामिनेशन
यस,
की जाती है,
यस,
और एक इंग्लिश होती है
स्पोकन
ग्रामर की,
वाली।
स्पोकन वाली।
या
तो इसमें भी थोड़ा सा अंतर बताइए, और इसको हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को किस तरीके से समझना चाहिए, क्योंकि कई बार हम लोग, मेरे साथ भी ये कई बार प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है, क्योंकि जब हम ग्रामर के अंदर जाते हैं, घुसते हैं, तो हमें और लगता है और अंदर जाना चाहिए, हमें इसके बारे में और समझना चाहिए, लेकिन जब एंड में जाते हैं, फिर हम देखते हैं कि हम वहां पर आ गए, फिर हम ये समझते हैं कि हमारी इंग्लिश बड़ी बुरी तरीके से, स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश, स्पोकन इंग्लिश
या
बहुत बुरी तरीके से हिट हुई है। तो इन चीजों को हमको किस तरीके से डील करना चाहिए, और कौन से ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस हैं जो आप स्टूडेंट्स को देना पसंद करेंगे, क्योंकि उसके बाद वो इन चीजों के ऊपर एक तरीके से मतलब अप्लाई करें अपनी लाइफ में, और रिजल्ट्स ज्यादा से ज्यादा ले सकें इनसे।
ओके।
या
तो पहले तो मैं एक बात बताऊंगा। आई रेड अ कोट दैट
हम्म
इज द जर्नी ऑफ 1,000 माइल्स बिगिंस विद अ सिंगल स्टेप।
हम्म
आपको कितना भी दूर जाना हो,
हम्म
आपका स्टार्ट होता है सबसे पहले एक स्टेप आपको लेना ही पड़ता है। वो स्टेप आपको डिसाइड करेगा, ऐसे स्टेप आप लेते चलो और वहां आप पहुंच जाओगे इवेंचुअली,
हम्म
राइट। बट ये एक प्रोसेस है, उसको आप एकदम से यू कैन नॉट कट इट शॉर्ट, राइट। आपने सॉल्यूशंस की बात करी, तो पहले क्या, देखो एक तो बहुत ज्यादा डिपेंड करता है हाउ ईगर यू आर, हाउ कीन यू आर टू लर्न अ पर्टिकुलर थिंग। जैसे मैं अपना बताऊं, मुझे ग्रामर, मैंने ना गिटार मुझे सीखना था, राइट। तो मुझे गिटार सीखना था, तो आई बॉट अ गिटार, मैंने गिटार खरीद लिया। थॉट दैट आई वुड बी एबल टू लर्न इट without even practicing it. So I even went to my student who gave me some lessons, and then I started playing it for some days, and then I stopped because I thought that then I didn't have time. So it's not actually going to be possible for me. छोड़ दिया। अब वो गिटार रखा रह गया, तो मैं सीख पाया नहीं सीख पाया। बट मुझे उसने बताया था कि सर आपको इतना नहीं करना है, एक एक्सरसाइज में दे रहा हूँ ना, उसको 7 डेज प्रैक्टिस करो, देन आई विल गिव यू नेक्स्ट एक्सरसाइज, उसको प्रैक्टिस, जस्ट गो विद योर ओन कन्वीनियंस। आप अपने कन्वीनियंस से चलो, जो ना आप कर पा रहे हो। वही मैं स्टूडेंट्स को बोलना चाहता हूँ। सबसे पहले क्या, जो ग्रामर की बात आती है, सो देयर इज अ बुक कॉल्ड, ना देयर इज अ बुक बाय माइकल स्वान। इट्स फ्रॉम ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी प्रेस।
ब्लू
वहां
कलर,
पर,
ब्लू कवर पेज,
या
या
ये इतना जबरदस्त है, मैं क्या बताऊं कि यू विल गेट एवरीथिंग, लाइक कि इसमें स्पोकन रूल्स क्या हैं, और जो रिटन इंग्लिश के हैं उसके रूल क्या हैं, फॉर्मल इनफॉर्मल एवरीथिंग हैज बीन क्लैरिफाइड, राइट। एंड बिफोर यू गो फॉर दैट बुक, मैं आपसे ये बताता कि आप में एक चीज पहचानने के ना, देयर हैज टू बी सम काइंड ऑफ यू शुड हैव द टेस्ट फॉर दीज थिंग्स एज वेल। कि एक अगर है ना कोई म्यूजिक में बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड है, तो उसमें एक अलग ही वो लेवल की वो होती है कि समझ आता है कि म्यूजिक में कहाँ कमी है कहाँ पे नहीं है, इवन दो दे हैव नॉट गॉन थ्रू एनी काइंड ऑफ लेसन, और नहीं लिए हुए हैं। आपको करना क्या है कि आपको पैटर्न्स को समझना होगा लैंग्वेज के, कि लैंग्वेज को, एक सेंटेंस को हम कितने पैटर्न्स में बोल सकते हैं। सेंटेंसेस आर नॉट फिक्स्ड। अगर मैं आपको कोई सेंटेंस, बस इसको याद कर लो, तुम स्पोकन इंग्लिश के सेंटेंसेस हैं, आप याद कर लो, यू विल बी एबल टू हैव कन्वर्सेशन विद पीपल। बट अगर आपको लगता है कि हमेशा मैं एक ही सेंटेंस बोलूंगा, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट एंड माई मूड, राइट। तो आपको पैटर्न्स को समझना होगा। दूसरा, आपको करना क्या है कि आप जितना रीडिंग करोगे ना, तो आपको उसमें जो सेंटेंस के जो वेरिएशंस हैं, वो आपको देखने को मिलेंगे कि सेंटेंस वेरिएशंस होते हैं। पॉडकास्ट की जहां तक बात करते हैं, रीडिंग की भी मैं बात कर देता हूँ। देखो, दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ प्रैक्टिस, बट आपको किसी के सुनने से और आप बोलने लगो, पॉसिबल ही नहीं है। बोलने के लिए आपको भी बोलना ही पड़ेगा, राइट। तो मैं हमेशा से, मैंने एक ही मेरे दिमाग में एक ही ख्याल था कि whenever I teach students, पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं सर यू डोंट गिव देम एनी ट्रांसलेशंस। तो मैं उनसे सिंपल बोलता हूँ कि सर मैंने अपनी लाइफ में ट्रांसलेशन किए ही नहीं। अब नेवर डन ट्रांसलेशन इन माई होल लाइफ। क्यों? अगर आप बोल लेते हो तो लिखने में कौन सी दिक्कत है, लेकिन आप लिख लेते हो तो बोलने की कोई गारंटी भी नहीं है, राइट। सो व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज, आपने सुना, और सुनो आप, मुझे नहीं लगता कि अगर आपको सुनना पूरे लगातार सुनते जाओ, you can stop and then repeat that particular line or sentence which you have just heard। उसको देखो, इसने ये बोला है, आप चाहो तो कैप्शंस को ऑन कर सकते हो, और उसको पूरे को ऑब्जर्व करो, सेंटेंस को, ये ऐसा क्यों बोला है। और ये अगर उन्होंने लैंग्वेज भी चेंज करने का उसमें रहता है, आप कैप्शंस, अगर वो इंग्लिश में बोला तो आप हिंदी में कैप्शन स्टार्ट कर सकते हो, अगर वो हिंदी में बोल रहे तो इंग्लिश में कैप्शन कैप्शन स्टार्ट कर सकते हो। जो सेंटेंस उसने बोला और कैप्शन जो आपने देखा, एनालाइज करना सीखो। यू हैव टू लर्न टू एनालाइज। यू वोंट बिलीव कि मैं डब्ड मूवी देखता था हॉलीवुड, राइट। उसमें वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं, नीचे कैप्शन इंग्लिश में चलता है। मगर उसने इस टाइम पे ऐसा क्यों बोला? आई वुड नोट एवरीथिंग डाउन, मतलब मेरे साथ में हमेशा नोटबुक और वो पेन हमेशा साथ में रहता था। आई वुड ऑलवेज जस्ट लाइक अ जर्नलिस्ट, आई वुड ऑलवेज बी देयर विद माय पेन एंड माय पेपर, राइट? कि मुझे देखना है कि बोल के रहा क्या, किस टाइम पे कैसे बोला हुआ है। एंड इवन इफ द देयर आर डिफरेंट वर्ड्स, आई वुड जस्ट नोट देम डाउन। दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी पीपल आर सपोज टू हैव। अगर उनमें क्यूरियोसिटी है तो मेरे हिसाब से वो किसी भी एक्सट्रीम तक जा सकते हैं। और अगर आपको वास्तव में कोई, इफ यू वांट टू मास्टर एनीथिंग, मैं केवल इंग्लिश की ही बात नहीं करता, यू हैव टू बी मैड अबाउट इट, क्रेजी अबाउट इट, नो मैटर व्हाट पीपल थिंक ऑफ यू। लेट दिस इज देयर ओन बिजनेस, राइट? उनको करने दो, लेकिन आपको यही करना पड़ेगा। आपको हर चीज को एनालाइज करना है। वर्ड्स, मैं कह रहा हूँ कि वर्ड्स अगर आपने पढ़ भी लिए हैं, try to learn to use those words in every context, क्योंकि वर्ड एक ही तरह से यूज नहीं होता है। देयर आर phrases, there are idioms, there are fiction or figurative expressions, there are so many things you have to learn, otherwise वो सिंगल वर्ड को यूज करके भी आप लैंग्वेज को समझ नहीं सकते, राइट?
तो अभी जिस तरीके से हमने सुना कि सुनना ही काफी नहीं होता, हम लोगों को बोलना भी पड़ेगा उसमें, क्योंकि जब तक हम एक लैंग्वेज को बोलेंगे नहीं जो कि हमारी लैंग्वेज नहीं है, राइट, जब तक हम उसमें एक्सपर्टीज एक तरीके से गेन नहीं कर सकते, तो स्पीकिंग इज द फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी, राइट।
यस।
और उसके लिए जैसे कि बताया सर ने, पॉडकास्ट है वो भी सुन सकते हैं, जितना हमें लगता है हमारे लिए रेलेवेंट है। बुक्स के बारे में बताया ही कि बुक्स को भी अप्रोच कर सकते हैं हम, ठीक है ना। अब जो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है और जो क्वेश्चन है, जिसको मैं काफी इंपॉर्टेंट समझता हूँ, कि इंसान को कई बार सारी चीजें आती हैं लेकिन वो फिर भी पीछे रह जाता है, जिसको मैं कहीं ना कहीं समझता हूँ माइंड सेट या कॉन्फिडेंस,
यस।
आत्मविश्वास, राइट। तो इस चीज पे स्टूडेंट्स को किस तरीके से काम करना चाहिए? कई बार स्टूडेंट्स के पास सब कुछ होते हुए भी स्टूडेंट्स कई बार ब्लैंक हो जाता है, स्टेज पर समूह के सामने ब्लैंक हो जाता है, ठीक है ना। तो इस पर्टिकुलर कॉन्फिडेंस को किस तरीके से डील करना चाहिए स्पेसिफिकली व्हेन वी आर स्पीकिंग लैंग्वेज? और वो ऐसी कौन सी एसेंशियल्स हैं, एक भी हो सकता है एसेंशियल या बहुत सारे भी एसेंशियल्स हो सकते हैं, और यू कैन शेयर विथ योर एक्सपीरियंस, कि जिनको हमको नेसेसरी ही, जरूरी ही अपने लर्निंग प्रोसेस में एज अ पार्ट ऑफ पार्सल बनाना चाहिए।
See, I would love to share with you one of my experiences that I had, and that really taught me a lot. You know, there was a time I started teaching, and yeah, I was able to speak in English. I was even able to teach English. So I saw an advertisement in a newspaper that there is a vacancy for spoken English trainer. So I applied for and then I went there, and then what happened actually, the person who was interviewing me, he was from Goa, and the other one was from Kanpur. So they started throwing questions at me like, uh, "Okay, do you know grammar?" I said, okay, I know, because the first half of the interview was really phenomenal. It went well with those interviewers because it was all about spoken, and then came the part of grammar. So I said, no, I didn't really want that job to slip through my fingers. I wanted to grab that job anyhow. So I said, yes, I know grammar. And then they asked me, who do you teach? Then I started boasting and exaggerating. Really, I was exaggerating, to be honest, hand on my heart. And I said that I teach students students who are preparing for CAT and MAT and, SSC and banks and UPSC. He said, okay, so can I ask you to give some demo? So I said, no, it was going to be a difficult task for me because I knew grammar, but I didn't know how to teach, right? So I said, okay, because I didn't have any other option. I couldn't say no to them because I had already said that I teach students like, these. So he made me stand on the podium. And then he said that consider us as your student, and you are now going to teach us all these parts of speech, right? So, noun, it was quite easy for me to explain. Then it came, pronoun, and I just fell flat, right? Then I realized there are. So he said to me, actually, sir, there are three kind of people. First is confident, second is extra confident, and third is overconfident. And you belong to the third category. He simply wanted to tell me that I was overconfident. Yes, and I would say I was really overconfident because I just never wanted to miss that job, and for that reason, I was just lying to them. and that made me make such, I know it was a disaster actually. So what I would love to say is that, see, never ever think that things are going to be perfect. So don't just wait for that moment when you will be feeling comfortable, no, perfect, and then you will start doing things. That's in my case. I thought that because I just wanted to look perfect in front of them, I lied to them. So this should not be done actually. So the first thing you have to do is to start focusing on your performance. I mean, your first day cannot be the day which you will be, your first performance will not be the kind of performance you'll be, giving it on your last day. It is always going to be way poorer than the your last performance. So in my case, as I said, that day, in my, previous part, that I started giving myself challenges. And what the challenge was, it was really very small step which I started taking because somewhere it did a world of good to me. And it was all about delivering one thought every morning in morning assembly. Because this is how I could gain confidence. तो वो confidence आने का एक ही वजह थी कि I started working on myself. Yes, piecemeals. I mean, bit by bit, I started improving myself. And this has to be done by the students, no matter how much you know. But if you don't execute all those things, then you can never expect yourself to be feeling comfortable in front of a good number of people. Right. So you have to have this, and don't start giving speeches and delivering speeches in front of a good number of people. Why don't you do it from your school, from your class itself? Right. For example, what I always do whenever I take, I conduct the classes, and I'm there and I'm teaching, and I start asking questions of my students, and I just make them stand and explain whatever they've been explained. Why? And some students withdraw themselves. I always encourage them. Then why do you withdraw yourself? There will be two results. Either you'll not be able to tell me, or you'll be able to tell me. So why do you worry about the results? See, why do I ask you to do this? Because you will be gaining some kind of confidence. If you answer, then you'll say yes. At least I could answer it. And if you fail to answer, at least you had the courage to stand up. That is really very important. I mean, many people are there, even I was there, who would always be withdrawing myself if my name was called to deliver something. This should not be the way, and I can say this because I've been through it. And this experience taught me a lot. That your small progresses never go waste. They are somewhere going to uh, become big progresses. And this is going to make you successful. So start small, and don't wait for bigger things to happen overnight. Right. It'll just be a myth, or it is just, it can happen only in dreams. ये केवल ड्रीम में ही हो सकता है. तो सबसे पहला क्या करना है, if you falter, if you legs turn to jelly while speaking, if you have butterflies in your stomach while speaking in front of people, then try this thing. Start speaking small, and try to start speaking to strangers first, because those who are familiar with you, or those you are familiar with, you feel comfortable with them, you have no problem. But when it comes to speaking to somebody you don't know, then you have problem, because there is a different kind of feeling. So start talking to people whenever you get an opportunity, and even though you don't have opportunities, try to create opportunities for yourself. Right. And this is what I always did in my life. I always took the responsibility that if somebody else is not going there, to deliver any speech, I would be the one who would say, "Sir, I'm there. I'm gonna tell." And then they would stop me that, why don't you allow other people to speak? And this gave me immense confidence. Now I can talk in front of anybody, right? And this could only happen because I never thought of the outcomes. My goal was always the same, that I just wanted to improve. I just want to speak. The goal is still the same, that with every passing day, I want to improve my performance. I don't know how well I speak. And if you ask me truly, if you ask me honestly, then I would tell you without exaggerating anything, that I am nowhere. I'm a beginner. and I'm always willing to work on my skills because this is the only way which can help me grow. Right? If I think that there is no need to work on my skills, I'm putting a lid on my potential and I'm stopping myself from progressing. That's why I always have books with me. I still, I'm not teaching any students preparing for banking and UPSC and all, but I'm solving the question papers because I don't really want to lose anything. I mean, if I worked on grammar, then I would really not love to lose it because somewhere, I'm a teacher. I can be questioned by students. They can ask me any question related to grammar. So if I fail to tell them, then how would I feel? Right. So that's why I always keep improving myself, and this is applicable to everybody, no matter what uh, field you are from or what background you come from. Right? It can be anything. If you're coming from humble background, if you don't have anybody to talk to in English, then at least you can start talking to yourself. Then you can start talking to your friends. Always seek somebody's company. And I'll miss in our previous videos, I shared this with you that we should always be looking for people who are better than us. Only then will you be able to learn something in your life. If you're hanging out with people who are just like you or not at all like you, who will you learn from them? So there has to be somebody you can learn from. I always want to have people around me who are somewhere going to give something to me, and I always love to sit with those people. So start learning, and you have to be curious. I always say this: curiosity has to be there, consistency has to be there, right? And then repeat, repeat, and repeat. Right? Okay. Yes. If I'm not able to, generally, what kind of questions I'm often asked because this is my profession. I teach students. Suppose, I taught them tense, and in spite of having been taught this tense, and then they have been taught the same kind of tense for a long time, but still they find it difficult to speak with the tense. They will make mistakes. So what they tell them that don't move until or unless you've mastered the one you've just been taught. So first master it. If I'm not able to use one particular word, why to learn other if I'm not able to use it? If I came across this word, I should be trying to speak with this word in a particular context. I have to create a context. I have to create a situation where I can use this word, right? Right. So this is the way you can master anything, right? I still remember one statement made by Bruce Lee that I don't fear the person who knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the person who has practiced one kick 1,000 times. So don't learn thousands of words if you're not able to use even 10 out of them. 10 words are good than to have 1,000 words which you can use very comfortably and effectively. So I think this is the way to master it. And again, I'm telling you one more thing that you have to give the priority to your goal. I never hang out with my friends. I don't have really friends, to be honest. Now, if we are friends, then we learn from each other, right? We don't just talk rubbish. So I'm always of the opinion that never trade your time for the things that don't matter to you. Right. So this is, what my answer to you is.
So you mean to say that there has to be a relation, some like masters and their students, that one should be holding some knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
And on the other side, the students must be curious to
Yes.
know all that. So if you are really willing to learn speaking English or to write English, then you must be very careful about your selections of your friends with whom you are going to be accompanied with.
Yeah.
And according to sir, what he means to say is that you need to be with someone who is a little bit higher in front
Yes.
of you in terms of knowledge, in terms of personal understanding
Mm.
about the language or the academic subject as per your requirements. Second important thing he said about that you should come out of your comfortable zone. Yeah, right? If you don't come out of your comfortable zone, you cannot be a good speaker. It means you may speak better fluently with people whom you know already.
Yeah.
But as sir said, that if someone comes who is a stranger to you and who is completely unknown, then it arises or springs out of that fear of
Yeah.
uncertainty,
Mm.
which says that we might lose something. And what is this something? Is obviously our dignity, our reputation.
Yes.
So which we should not be very careful about.
Yeah.
I think this is not that much important. This is something insignificant.
Yes.
And we should consider in that way. Moving to the last questions of today's podcast, we have talked about process, how to be a good uh, spokesperson. We have also dealt with those instruments pertaining to those practices, including reading, writing. We have already talked about confidence and the play of confidence and the role of confidence in
Yes.
communication. Now we are moving to the last one, which is all about advanced tips. So now this is a recent trend. Even if you are a good speaker, but if you don't sound like someone who speaks as the native speaks, then you are not given that much kind
And
of.
you're talking about accent, right?
Yes, I'm talking about accent. So
Yeah.
these days, people are vehemently talking about accent, and they are doing their all possible efforts to achieve that accent. So first, my question to you is that how relevant for the students is to pursue accent over, eloquence. Second important thing, which is the supplementary part of this question, is how we can learn English like the way we want. Secondly, we have already seen that there is a category of speakers. On one side, we have students who speak English as someone robot speaking, right? Which sounds very based on book knowledge. They never sound a natural speaker.
Yeah.
So tell our audience what should be the basic practice according to you out of your experience where a person should turn out to be a natural speaker from being a robot. And secondly, as I told in the beginning, accent and the play of accent in overall communication.
Yeah. See, I never love to copy. And this has always been my, principle that if I copy others, then who am I? What is my identity? Right. So, as you talked about this accent, we have to understand a few things. There is pronunciation. The other thing is accent. First, you have to be comfortable with the pronunciation. If you don't know how to pronounce the words perfectly, then how can you move towards accent development, right? So there has to be perfect pronunciation, right? If you don't know, for example, I see many people, they pronounce the words like comfortable. This is not the correct comfortable, right? And student, right? This is the pronunciation. So you have to focus on the pronunciation first. One more thing I would love to say is there's no harm in training yourself, especially for accent development. But tell me one thing: when any English person speaks to us, don't we understand them? Yes, we understand them. So why can't they understand when you speak to them in your own accent? There is also a possibility. If you can understand them, why can't they understand you? Provided you are pronouncing the words very correctly, right? So you have your pronunciation has to be no very up to the mark. And if it is not, then I would always suggest you to go for the pronunciation guide. I mean, you can have a dictionary, you can see the correct pronunciation. You can even nowadays, books are dictionaries are available online. You can even listen to the audio, right? You can listen to the pronunciation. So check the pronunciation. Let me share with you one incident that took place in my life, and that made me very aware of the pronunciation. Otherwise, I would always go with the flow. I would never ever pay attention to the pronunciation. And one day, I was having a conversation with a receptionist, and actually, I was there to inquire about a computer course for my brother. And while the conversation going, I used a word that ESSENTIAL. It is essential, right? But I pronounce the word essential, right? And the person stopped me. He said that, sir, you are not able to pronounce this word. And I would tell you one thing. If you are not able to pronounce any word correctly, please never use that word. Otherwise, you will seem foolish in front of some educated person who knows it very well. From that day onwards, I made a promise to myself that I would never use a word if I'm not sure of the pronunciation, right? So from that day onwards, I started checking the pronunciation of each and every word I would come across. And that's how I learned the pronunciation of the words correctly. And then see, if you are comfortable with the pronunciation, if your flow is nice, your accuracy is nice, your confidence is really wonderful, then you can move towards accent development. If any of the things I've just mentioned is not good, I think it's better to work on those things than to moving than to move to pronunciation. I mean that accent. Otherwise, you will really look foolish. Right. You're not able to pronounce the words correctly. You're trying to speak like those native speakers. So if everything is fine, then you can switch. You can switch to pronounce this accent development as well. There is no harm. But fix what is not right. So you have to fix that. The second thing you said that the next thing you said that you talked about pronunciation, you talked about accent, and what else you talked about? Bookish knowledge. Yeah. Versus your natural. Yeah. Speaking. For example, sometimes we just want to look perfect in front of people. We just want to speak the way is what we find written in books that I should be able to speak like this. But spoken language is completely different from written language. For example, let's take the example of Hindi as well. Do we really speak Hindi the way it is written in books? I think we don't really. Right? Then how can we think that we should be speaking English the way we find it written in books? It's not possible. So there is a world of difference between spoken English and written English. So if you really want to speak naturally like native speakers, then listen to people how they speak. Right. And then try to. This is how we actually learn. Ask any of the people who are phenomenal speakers, especially about especially in English language. Ask them. They all read people, they study people, and then they start using those things, applying those things in their lives. I often listen to people, especially who are phenomenal speakers like Robin Sharma. I listen to Simarjit Singh. I listen to, and there are many people like Palki Sharma is there, and if I talk about the people from other country, so that Brian Tracy is there, and one more guy. I love to listen to. He's a phenomenal speaker, Jack Canfield. You must be knowing his name. So I listen to these people. Why? Because I want to see how they speak and what's the best way to speak. So I study these people. So instead of just going with your own whims and fancies, try to do some maths. I mean, you said just listen to people, how they speak, and what kind of language is chosen by them. And you have to be very selective in terms of the words you're using, because there are many slangs in English language. And if you're speaking to people, especially in some formal settings and some interviews, you are there in some interviews, then you have to be very careful about your words, because you cannot use slangs in such kind of conversations. Yes, with your family members, with your friends, you can use those words. So you should be able to differentiate what words should I go with if I'm in from formal settings, and what word I can go with if I'm informal settings. So this is something which you need to pay attention to. So yeah, you have to learn what kind of words, because nowadays the times have really changed. Right. Earlier, the kind of dictionaries we used to have, they were not the kind of the dictionary we have now. Now you can see the label, right? Every word in the dictionary nowadays has a label, whether it's used in spoken or in academic and in politics, and it's a taboo word, it's a slang. Everything has been categorized, right? So see that. I think you can do this much of maths, right? If I don't know the word properly, how can I use it? Even in Hindi, there are certain words we are not supposed to use while we are having conversation with your elders, with your with people who are in some good positions. Same goes to English language as well. Right. So you have to keep these things into account, right? So if you have learned these things, And this is very easy nowadays. Everything is available. You can listen to anybody. Listen to some professional speakers. You can learn if you want to speak like professionals. You can listen to them. You can see them what kind of words, what choices they've got. Just study them. And if you want to use some cool words and some slangs, then listen to, then you can watch movies. And slangs are available,
Okay.
and cool words are there. But I would always suggest people to go with the standard words. They're neither formal nor informal. They can be used in any situation you want. So go with the standard words like, if I want to say this guy is sissy, oh, it means timid and coward. But if you use this word, you can have a slap on your face, because it's very gender sensitive. So you cannot just simply go with the meaning. Just know the word. Right. So the safe, if you want to play it safe, say coward. There is no harm, and people will understand you. Absolutely. Right. So instead of saying that, for example, I often use this in my class actually to make things clear, especially for the students. If somebody is not able to sit properly, I said, have you got ants in a pants? So it's a very slang, it's American slang, and you cannot really use it for anybody because it's very um, sensitive, right? Slang. And you are pissing in my ears and telling telling me it's raining. Right. So I don't believe you. Instead of saying I don't believe you, I can say you are pissing in my ears and telling me it's raining. These are the words, these are the idioms and the words you cannot always use. You have to be very much sensitive. And that's why you are educated, you know what is right and what is wrong, and go with the situation and context. So this is how you can master the language, right? So
Okay, so he said that pronunciation over accent,
yeah,
because pronunciation reflects your overall eloquency.
yes,
It reflects your overall understanding, knowledge. And the most or the foremost part in this is that when you speak with people, you have a reason to speak, and
yeah,
the reason is to convey your message.
yes,
And as long as your accent is not comfortably understood by people, what is the use of
yes,
accepting or practicing or cultivating that accent in our
yeah,
overall behavior, in our overall speaking, attitude, right?
yeah,
We have talked a lot about speaking English, spoken English. We have talked about grammars. We have talked about how we can be confident. And we have also talked about advancedness, how to bring that advancedness in communication skill. I'm reminding of one specific proverb, which is something like this, that we humans are not a nature of destruction. We become independent when we are ready to die. So I simply say that if you are determined to learn something, you need to be independent of this fear of judgment. Fear of judgment, as you rightly said, plays a very crucial role.
yes.
Even some people know many things, and they
It will
are,
crush your confidence.
yes, they completely, pulverizes things,
Yes.
right? As something is being created, right?
Yeah.
So this what I had for you, and the sir wanted to share with you. So with this, I just take a leave, and I
Just
hope you
wait,
would.
I just want to
Yeah.
give the last piece of my advice that at times things may feel very difficult for you, right? At times you may think that I'm not progressing at all. At times you may think that nothing is working out for me.
Right.
And at times you think that I just learn words, but just forget all the words. And I don't think that I would ever be able to
Right.
speak the way I really want. This happened to me as well, but don't just give up. Just continue, and you would find that you have come a long way. If you compare yourself, uh, your journey from the point you started,
Right.
and the point you have arrived, right? You'll find that there is a major difference. There is a massive difference. You have made a massive progress. So why don't you keep that progress into account, right? See that if you have made this much progress, this progress will also continue, and this is how you will one day be able to speak like anyone you want to. The same was my goal, and I have not stopped. Actually, I'm still learning, and I'll keep learning, and I hope that I would be able to improve. With every passing day, you have to maintain this. You have to keep your, you'll have to keep your head. You will have to keep your cool. Don't just get disturbed and depressed and demotivated. Things just happen when you make efforts.
Right.
So keep sticking to your goals, and keep making efforts. We've got only 24 hours. Right. Make the most of every second because every second counts, right? So if you can, in Jawaharlal Nehru's words, he says that if you kill your time, the time will kill you, right? So make this makes really a lot of sense that time is the only thing. You may find somebody to be very popular, to be very famous, to be very successful, but that success has thousands of hours of hard work behind it, right? Because the person who seems to be very successful has really spent and he has sweated a lot. He has done a lot of hard work. He has passed many sleepless nights because there was only one dream in their mind that they wanted to become successful in their chosen career, chosen whatever the goal they had set for themselves. And this is the reason why they are where they are, right? So always keep this in mind. There is no substitute for practice. There is no substitute for hard work. Hard work pays off. So keep it in mind, and then you will definitely able to successful. If you have any doubt, you can DM us because we are always available. We are always available to respond to your comments, and we are always committed to create videos on your on your comments. Yes, on your recommendations, right? You can comment if you have any problem regarding any issue. We are ready to provide you solutions based on our experience and our journey, right? Okay. So we'll be giving you all whatever we can.
Okay, so in essence, that keep relishing your small achievements to
Yes.
keep yourself motivated. And this is the only way out
Yeah.
with which we can pursue, we can achieve our targets. So with this, I take a leave. I hope you would love this video. And after you watch this video, please do share your comments with us. Secondly, keep sharing the video because we need your support and we need many of you could come and subscribe the channel. We keep giving your personal opinion on it and what kind of improvements, what kind of topics, and what kind of other features that you want to see from us. Please keep intimating us with all these. This is what I want to share. Till then, take care. Bye bye.